You mentioned VidCon, which is a complete zoo. I've been to that so many times, but Chad and I have had conversations many times about a different conference that we go to, and there's a lot of these family vloggers there. And not to bring down the room a little bit here, but I'd like to get into this topic a little bit, because Chad and I have talked about this for so long, about how odd of a thing this whole phenomenon of family vlogging is. And we would see these families, and they're all, I shouldn't say all, but the ones we were seeing were all very wealthy. Mm-hmm. And they would shoot scenes. These are our just daily, hey, we're just out doing stuff. But then they would make the kids do it again. They're like, oh, that wasn't right. Go back up the stairs, come back down and do it again. And it's so creepy. And you had a couple of videos on there that really struck home with me. And it was this the dark side of family vlogging. And I'd like to hear your take on that. Where do you think that this is going? And think anybody's going to be putting the brakes on this?
I hope so. It's funny. When I was first moving to New York and I was like unemployed, and I definitely could not be a full-time YouTuber yet, I was looking for freelance editing work, and I got hired by some family vlogger family, which I was already opposed to, but I was like, sure, I'll take it. Even though I think they were paying me something ridiculous, like maybe $20 for a video. And it took me probably 15 to 20 hours of work. Hilarious. But, yeah, in watching the video, I was like, this is even creepier to like edit myself. Cause like, obviously you see the behind the scenes, you see the retakes, which I do in my videos. I do in my vlogs even. But again, it's weirder to see, someone else do it. And so I feel like that made me self-conscious in terms of having other people edit. Cause I'm like, they're going to see the creepy, weird sides of me repeating myself 10 times. Irrelevant. But, yeah, I don't know when I began to think about this. I guess as somebody who myself has grown up on YouTube, I know the impact of putting yourself out there. But for me, I was putting myself out there. My parents had nothing to do with my channel. I'm surprised that they let me start a YouTube that early. But like, it was always myself controlling my own image. And it was a space for my creativity. I was not, the workhorse for my parents to earn money. Everything I've ever earned from YouTube, I've been able to keep for myself. So when I started to think about the way that family vloggers use their cute kids and the general internet's love of cute babies and these cute stories and pregnancy announcements, like, it's obvious those things get a lot of views and they go viral, and it's normal that encourages a very strong and valuable parasocial relationship, because people are literally seeing your kids from the time that you announce your pregnancy till, them going to high school or something. So of course people are going to be connected to you. But, yeah, I started to think about the more sinister sides of that and just making those connections to child stars. And those are things that we've seen, really tragic stories of these kids have a high when they're young and they're valuable because they're cute. And then they reach a point where people don't want to see them anymore, or like they're not getting those views, or they're not getting, those bookings or whatever. And then on the parent side, it's like, I'm a little bit sassy because I'm like, you're not interesting enough on your own to get these views, to make this money, to get those brand deals. You have to use your cute kids as a big, attraction for your videos. And then when it comes down to the topics and just the weirdness, like there's not very much privacy. There's not room for kids to just be themselves. I don't think kids should be forced to perform, like either literally like retaking things, or at least just to be vlogged every day. That's just so, I can't even imagine how angry I would be if my parents were trying to film me as an angsty teen. Like I would have run away, literally. Right. So it's
I kind of think that some of these kids might even have a harder time as they get older, and we don't really know the results of this yet. The verdict is not really out. It's kind of that new, but I think they're going to have a harder time than just celebrity kids, because at least celebrity kids had their own personal side of their life,
private homes,
and we're playing a character.
These kids are. Well, these kids are always playing a character, basically, is what they're doing, because they're never allowed to be
between what is a character.
They're never really allowed to be kids and be themselves. And the titles and the thumbnails of these videos have gotten so crazy, and they follow these similar patterns where it's like, our house got robbed, or it's just crazy.
An emergency trip to the emergency room, and then the picture is like the thumbnail needs to be the kid holding their tooth that they lost or whatever. It's just like, this is like, as a father of a 3-year-old, I couldn't imagine trying to figure out how to relate to my kid that, we need to do this, but this isn't real life. This isn't real life. We're doing this for the camera because people want, and that's when it started getting really weird for me, when people started doing the whole, it was either the drama associated, like clickbait family vlog style, as in that's the stuff that's going to clickbait people. And that's what they started focusing on.
Yeah, I know. I've thought a lot, generally about, because obviously I liked documenting my life. I like having videos with my family. Obviously, everyone likes home movies and stuff. And I think family vlogging channels started out genuinely like that. And sometimes even today, people start off like that. But I think it's just so powerful if you happen to be one of those people who gets picked up by the algorithm, your videos blow up. It's so, once you start seeing that money, and especially imagine you're a young, broke family, you have a baby, and now you have an opportunity to work from home and make a bunch of money. That's kind of a miracle, but then you just fall into that, and then you can't really even think about the ethical implications or the potential consequences in the future for yourself or your kids. And so in some ways I have sympathy, but also I'm like, hey, your parents, I'm not a parent yet, but I would like to have kids someday. And I've already thought, I don't want to even show my kids' faces online. And even other kids in my family, my little cousins, or my sister just had a baby. I'm not going to post her baby, his face online, because I'm just trying to be very careful about the platform I have, even if other parents are okay with it. I just think that this space online grew so fast before we could have these conversations. And now it's kind of gotten out of control. And now we're okay, well, you can't take it back for those other kids who have already been posted online so much, but you can change how we behave from now and protect privacy before these, situations start. The fact that kids have a digital footprint now from birth, these family vloggers are making their babies Instagrams, and they have millions of followers the week they're born. That's weird. That's objectively weird. And, weird at best.
It's weird if someone does it with their dog. It's
I do it with my cats,
or your mouse, or whatever it is. I get totally fine. But again, it's a kid. And further to your earlier point, I have sympathy and empathy for the people who got in it before we kind of knew what it was going to be. I get in 2015, if it was hey, this is fun, and all we're doing is literally just kind of documenting the trip to the dentist and this, that, and the other. I understand that it was a time that we didn't know, but that box, as you say, is now wide open. We all know it's wide open. So I think anybody getting in it today has to be well aware of what they're getting into.
And they've seen the Ace families, and they've seen, there's money to be made. And if you behave a certain way, and if your kids are cute enough, and if you as parents are, attractive enough, you can do it. And that
ends up being the difference, because that ends up being the difference between a lot of people who got into spaces which are popular back in the day and did well because of one reason or another, because they got into it for different reasons. We got into cleaning because it was just hey, we wanted to actually promote our business, our cleaning business in Toronto. And then there was this whole other thing that came from it. But that was safe. That wasn't using our kids or anything like that. But now it's really, really addictive. It's full of sugar. And even on Instagram, I don't share pictures of at least the face of my daughter, just because it just really became you see how prevalent it is that everybody has it out there, and a 3-year-old doesn't have agency to say whether they want that.
Yeah, it's a question of consent in a lot of cases.
So now it is up to you. You're the person who's in charge of that. So now you're literally saying that you're putting it out there without consent. And I don't mean to draw it that harshly, but that's how I drew it for myself. It's well, then I'm going against her potential future disagreement with this by me posting this for the sake of getting a whole bunch of likes, and a whole bunch of people are oh, so cute.
Exactly.
Because that's all you get from it.
Right.
They'll often say, well, we always ask our kids, is this something you want to do? And it's well, anybody who's a parent knows that you can say, you're having fun doing this, right? And kids will always say, yes, of course. They want to agree. They know.
And we're getting ice cream later, right?
They know what makes you happy.